Hey, Dr.
Hey,
Hammer.
Dr. Hammer.
Hello.
This is our movie review for the VVitch.
VVitch.
The First of all, one thing that I noticed throughout the film was, even though it was like heavily related to religion, we noticed that it was them always like begging to God for like his mercy instead of like them having faith in God. And like whenever they really mentioned him, it was when they were in trouble. Like they didn't really like ever get anything from him unless they like really needed something. And they're always just kind of like begging to him for like his like forgiveness or like whatever they can give him.
I saw the biblical allusion to like of the goat to the devil or Black Phillip. Yeah. So that was interesting.
Also, something that we kind of noticed, we were trying to figure out what the little rabbit meant, and we kind of realized that like it reminded us of the quote or like the thing like going down the rabbit hole. So it seemed like the rabbit showing up was just like making them go deeper and deeper into the forest or into evil, like coming near the witch. So it was just like you could tell like through that things were about to get bad.
Yep.
I was telling them that I wasn't very comfortable with the fact that they displayed so much sexual tension between the dad and Thomasina. And I also was talking about the fact that Thomasina, her name is like Thomas, which is also symbolism to religion, because Thomas was the doubting one who had to see the wounds of Christ to prove who Christ was. And so in that, Thomasina had to see all of this crazy gore and stuff to go on around her to believe in the witches in the woods.
Yeah. One thing that we picked up on at the end that was something that we kind of like looked into it a little bit because you told us to look for the like alternative social commentary was that it was kind of like a feminist empowerment. At the end, she was always oppressed by her family throughout the film. Like she always tries to be this really good girl. Like even like when she's like accused by her parents, she's like no, like it's not me. I love you guys. Like she prays to God all the time. Like she asks for forgiveness. And then at the very end, like it's finally her like stepping up and like she kills her mom because her mom like tries to kill her, and then she finally like goes and does something for herself instead of like acting like for her dad or her family. And additionally, like her dad being like the male like role put not only like the bringing the kid into the woods but also stealing the cup. He like blamed both of those on her and just expected her to kind of like take it.
I think with that it really shows like the arc of her character. Like she really was like trying to be a good daughter, and then as soon as like the parents start actually thinking that she's a witch, like she's like, you know what, fine, like I'm gonna be a witch then after like they all die. So I think it just really shows like how much like when things go really wrong it can really like screw with your mind and like you can just change.
Or like when you keep kind of like that thing where like if you lie to yourself enough, like it becomes a truth. Like if they tell you something for long enough, you start to believe it. So that kind of like alludes to that a little bit.
I also like the long shots in the film where you could see the whole just the whole view of where they were. So it really isolates them as a family and it makes it more spooky. And the saturation, how soft the tones were, everything, all the edges of their skin were softened, and it made it more foggy, and it made it feel like you were actually in the atmosphere with them.
We were talking about too how it didn't really go with a stereotypical like horror film. It's more like a eerie sense, and like the music is more it's not to make you jump or to anticipate anything. It's just to kind of go with the story and have the story build the entire thing.
But overall, I think I liked it. Thumbs up.
Yeah, I really liked it. I've watched it before. I really didn't like it before, but like after analyzing it with like the things that we've been talking about in class, I liked it a lot more watching it the second time.
I liked it. I don't need to ever watch it again. I had watched it before.
Yeah.
I appreciated watching it again and being able to see different things I didn't see before, especially with social commentary, because I would have never noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give it one thumb up.
Well, just one more thing real quick was building off of what Michaela was saying. I did a little bit of reading while I was watching the movie. And when they were filming, they actually used all natural light and only candlelight. Like, they didn't use any other lighting solely for the purpose of making it, like, super realistic. And that's what makes it so chilling, is because it's so realistic. And I thought that was like a really great way for them to like evoke that like eeriness without having things like jump at you and stuff.
Also, a question I like kind of still have is like, why were the twins like kind of demonized? It's like obviously they like played with Black Phillip, but I just mean like in general, like does it have to do with like the fact they're two and they're the exact same, like so they're like they have two souls, which is like maybe not a good thing. So it just made me question that because they really are like that kind of antagonist at some point.
Yeah, they're super menacing too. Like
Yeah.
like they're the ones that essentially get their father to believe, like actually believe that she's a witch because they're like are acting that like she's like possessing them.
Also, like when the older daughter, in order to like freak out the twins, pretends to be a witch, it kind of reminds me like when the girl cries wolf, like by her pretending to be a witch, so then when she actually isn't one, it's like she screwed herself over by doing that in the first place.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
That's all. All right.
Bye.
We'll
Good
see you
night.
tomorrow.